Hello. Here we go. So, topics for today are going to be trade deal winners and losers, leak code and why it's dumb, and the why of the anecdote. So let's go. Trade war winners and losers. So at this point, Trump has made trade deals with Japan, EU, lots of other countries, Cambodia, Thailand, I think India. We have a trade deal with. And we add it all up, it's about 60% of our the world GDP. I don't think we have a trade deal with China yet. And I don't think we would deal with like Mexico maybe or Canada. There's like a few outliers. Fair enough. But at this point, you could definitely see who the winners are and the losers are moving forward. And it seems to me that the countries that are friendlier to the conservative Republican perspective on things seem to be doing better in these trade deals. So first, India. From all accounts, the India deal trade deal happened very, very quickly. No, not in, we don't have a trade deal with India yet. So EU and Japan are the two I want to talk about. Japan got apparently we got like even tariffs with them. We are going to increase their exports of rice and soybeans to them, which they really won't need. They're going to increase investment in us, which is basically the Japanese strategy anyway. Basically, for those who don't know, the Japanese industrial strategy right now is to design things in Japan and then invest in manufacture what they design in other countries. Japan has a shrinking population. This is a way for them to keep the high value jobs and have other people actually build it. So America's got a much better demographic situation than Japan. And this is basically it embraces the American strategy of doing things where we get to export our extra agriculture. We do have extra agriculture due to our subsidies. They get their rice, which they have a huge shortage of right now. If that's another story in Japan right now. Meanwhile, they invest in us, which gives us money, but also lets them basically embrace their industrial strategy. Really great plan. I get the impression that Japan just gets Trump and knows how to handle him. I don't know if you've watched any Japanese news coverage of Trump, but it's very tongue in cheek. They're kind of like, "Oh yeah, Trump, great man," but the way they say it is almost as if they're calling him stupid at the same time. It's very entertaining. So, like when they do Trump's voice in the translation and they watch Japanese news, it's "Oh, I'm Trump man." Oh, and it's it's really really low, and it's kind of like the bad guy villain of an anime, and it just they know how to stroke his ego just right to get what they want, which is hilarious. Japan just understands how to manipulate the man, and it works. Like it's a good deal between them. Like I'm glad we're allies. We're going to stay allies with friendly with Japan. Japan's an awesome country. One of the few countries that I would consider above the United States in living standards. Japan, Netherlands, Denmark. That's basically it. To be honest, out of Switzerland maybe, but Switzerland is buffeted by banks. Japan's an actual country. Now the EU apparently, I thought the deal was going to be even. No, the EU got screwed by this deal. Um, Basically, they have to pay tariffs to us when they import to the United States. We don't have to pay tariffs to them. Plus, they're buying a ton of our stuff. Like literally buying like weapons and stuff. Um, by all most people's measurements, EU just got screwed. People were saying, "Oh, it's not fair." Well, no, it's not. But life's not fair. Yeah, it's how it works. And honestly, with how the EU has been basically bad mouthing the United States and Americans and conservatives for the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years, screw them, kind of. Um, yeah, so the idiots got beat, the winners didn't. It definitely just the whole, oh, Trump doesn't know how to negotiate. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. Well, the idiot just got trade deals that are pretty positive for like 60% of the planet. So, which is going to greatly increase our government revenues. Like if you're a Democrat, and you want to increase revenue, so you can increase social spending. You actually want this deal because there's more money to spend on social programs. Now, you probably also want more taxes, which I'd actually agree with. I don't like. I think that a lot too many rich people are idiots. You should tax them more. But that said, it's still a good deal to get more money this way. If you're for increasing revenue, it you should be happy with different ways of getting that revenue. And the inflation risk doesn't seem to be materializing at all. So lower inflation, like everything the economists and experts said was going to happen, didn't happen. I don't think they're experts. I think they're just people who are good at speaking well. Okay, fine. So yeah, I think the trade deal worked out better than I ever would have anticipated. I was expecting it to be a real problem, to have mass inflation, economic downturns. Like, it didn't change my general political stances, but I thought it was going to be a lot worse. This is cakewalk. Turns out when you have leverage, you can spend it and use it and get stuff for it. Next topic, Leet code. So I had a scanning interview for a interview. Not gonna say what company, but it's a top company. And so the recruiter talks to me and say, "Hey, yeah, this is what it's gonna be. This is what it's gonna look like." And over the course of the conversation, he let me know that, oh yeah, out of the 36 people I've recommended for this position, only one of them has been hired. 1 out of 36? That's not a hiring expedition. That is a scanning the marketplace expedition. We are trying to figure out like what the economy looks, what the talent stack looks like for people. Like 36 people, and this is one recruiter. That means that they go through a lot of people. That's gathering information. That's not trying to hire people. Because frankly, I've worked in a lot of different areas. I've worked as a developer, I've worked as an analyst, I've worked as a DevOps engineer, I've worked alongside cyber engineers. I've done most things in tech. Most stuff people are actually doing is not difficult. Now, there are the random tasks that you need like a top engineer to do, and you need like one of those guys, maybe two in a project, maybe three. But you got 30 people in a pod. You don't need everybody to be a fantastically high performer. And the way that they weed people out is basically these coding questions. You're like, okay, yeah, you want to know some coding. But these aren't just random questions. These are like Leet code questions. Not just Leet code's easy, which you should be able to do, or Leet code medium. These are Leet code hard questions. Do you know what a Leet code hard question is? It's an algorithm you have to have memorized beforehand. So we have all of this top talent across the industry who are spending thousands of hours memorizing these algorithms that will never take place in the real world. It is such a bloody waste of time. And all it does is reward people who are spending their time doing weak code questions. Like, you know how I would hire somebody? Hey, let's say somebody has a cool project they're working on their own. That's cool. Like, or maybe somebody just does a good job. Only in tech do you expect to pass a bloody test in order to get hired. Like, that's so dumb. I'm very lucky to be in an area of tech where that isn't really necessary. I'm a, in my area of tech, it's not. Lead code questions are kind of there's enough demand for people like me that I don't really need to do them. But I've studied for them for a Google interview, from an Amazon interview, that kind of thing. And these tests are not measures of technical ability. They're just measures of how well you do lead code. You're not doing an algorithm to find the best way for water to go down a pathway to the ocean around it through a through a 2D cell. That's not something anybody is doing on the job. You're not doing a find a um, alphabetical pattern A B A B A B. Then after five repeats of that, go A B B B B. You're not doing that kind of 2D array transversal in the real world ever. And if you are, whoever designed your project is an idiot and should be fired from their job. It's just such a stupid way of measuring ability. It should be like any other job where you have more experience, you know something about the thing you're working on, you get the job, and then you get a bit better at it. It's stupid. And then they're like, oh, we need to We need to bring in H-1B1 visas. It's like, no, go fuck yourself. That's not what you need. You need a reasonably good hiring practice, okay? Um, it's such a joke. And people are like, oh, you're not owed a job. It's like, well, actually, yeah. The purpose of an economy is to serve the people in the economy. It's not for the people to serve the economy. It's for the economy to serve the people. So yeah, I'm okay with a little bit of protectionism. It makes sense. And if we are going to cut costs and stuff, let's cut some of the CEO's costs. Like nothing against CEOs, most of them are probably reasonably good, competent, smart people. That, there's a limit to how good, smart, and capable you really are. Just the truth. And honestly, like the really innovative billionaires, they don't seem particularly motivated by money. Like, do you think Elon Musk is motivated by money? No, he wants to get to Mars and save Western civilization. Do you think like all the actual innovative people, like Jeff Bezos, like okay, I guess he's an example of somebody who's motivated by money. What's he doing? He's skirting about the world with the Barbie doll. Barbie doll, not because she's attractive, but because she's made of plastic. Anyway, I've definitely become a lot more left wing as I've gotten older and seen what the world is like. Does that mean I'm a communist? No, it just means that I'm just more what helps the average person. Like, as been going is the right approach. Next topic, the lie of the anecdote. So there's a story. There's a shooting or something in New York City in Manhattan, and I just don't care. Yes, it's sad. Yes, okay, it's bad. Whatever. In a population of 400 million people, terrible bad things are happening constantly, all the time. In a world of 6 billion, 8 billion people, there's always something just mind-bendingly terrible happening to somebody who doesn't deserve it at every moment of every day. It doesn't teach you anything. It just is a data point. Now, do I feel bad for people? Yes, it's bad to have bad things happen. Bad things happen to everybody throughout life. But it, it's better to look at the pictures at the issues that actually affect tons and tons of people. Um, People are focused about one guy with one gun in one city that you're not even in. Meanwhile, we have like a 50% divorce rate, no 40%, and we have so many kids being born without two parents. Like, dear God, how does one parent raise a kid? Like, I don't want to. But on the other hand, why is that? Why is that a thing, right? And it's not like or the dating crisis. How many people are alone in their 30s or 40s who don't want to be? Like, people want to be with people unless you have some weird stuff going on in your brain. Um, Other stuff like the demographic replacement of Christian culture with other cultures. That's a thing that has a giant impact. And people are like, oh, atheists come back. Yeah, atheists, you guys are a drop in the pan. You guys drop in the pan, boil off. You mean nothing. You're a temporary state. Maybe you're right. You might be right. I don't think you are, but you might be. But you're a temporary state. There's no cultures that stay atheist. People are like, oh, Buddhism in China. It's like, yeah, if you've actually seen how they worship their statues, or they worship what's represented by the statues, they're not atheists in your sense. I'm sorry, though. Oh, Buddha's not a god. No, yeah, he is. Okay. How he's actually approached is as a deity. That's just the truth. And you can dance around with theology and everything, but they're a religious society just as ours is. And when that religion goes away, then everything falls apart, which is happening throughout the world, by the way. So there's all these global warming, if you're in one of the left wing situations, there's all these terrible things happening. That's just so boring to focus on one thing. Now, if New York City collapses because of economic policies or whatever, okay, that's something that would hold my interest. That's something because New York City is one of the great cities in the world. It would be sad if it fell into the same hole as Los Angeles or yeah, or Detroit. That would be very sad. But an individual shooting it's entertainment. It's what it is. You're not gaining any knowledge from it. You're just being entertained. Same thing with this white couple that got beat up by a mob in Minneapolis or something. Yeah, it's bad, but it's an anecdote. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got, and cheers.